In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out across the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. They were young, capable, and familiar with the dangers of the wilderness. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, had planned every detail. This wasn't a reckless expedition. It was a test of endurance, skill, and courage. They left for the icy slopes of the Koletsiaki, a name that means dead mountain in the local Mansi language. At the time, no one thought much of it, but soon that name would become a chilling prophecy. For weeks, the group was expected to send word of their progress. When no message came, families grew anxious. By mid-February, a search party was sent into the frozen wilderness. What they found has haunted investigators and the world ever since. On February 26th, the rescuers discovered the group's tent. It was partially buried in snow, its sides slashed open from the inside. Inside lay clothing, boots, and food, neatly arranged, as if the hikers had left in a hurry, expecting to return. Outside, barefoot footprints led away into the night. 9 sets of prints, fanning out towards the woods. About a mile from camp, the first bodies were found. 2 young men near the remains of a small fire beneath a cedar tree. They were dressed in only their underwear, their hands burned from desperate attempts to stay warm. Dyatlov and another hiker were found a short distance away, as if trying to crawl back to camp. Both had injuries consistent with exposure and something else: blunt trauma and panic frozen on their faces. The last 4 bodies were discovered 2 months later, deeper in the snow. These were different. Their injuries were severe: fractured skulls, broken ribs, internal bleeding, but no external wounds. One was missing a tongue, another had their eyes gone, and their clothing contained traces of radiation. No single explanation fit the evidence. At first, Soviet investigators labeled it a compelling natural force. But what kind of force makes people flee their tent, half-dressed in sub-zero temperatures, only to die in terror, miles away from safety? Let's explore what might have happened. The most widely accepted theory today is an avalanche. Perhaps a small slab of snow gave way, pushing the tent inward. Panicking, the hikers cut their way out and fled downhill to escape. But the problem is, the slope was too shallow, and the tent, when found, was still upright and undisturbed. No sign of the force needed for such destruction. If it was an avalanche, it left no trace behind. Others point to secret Soviet weapons tests in the region. The area wasn't far from military activity, and locals reported strange orange orbs in the sky that same night. Could the hikers have witnessed something they weren't supposed to see? Radiation on their clothes adds to the mystery. However, it may have come from their school's engineering labs. Still, the theory persists. Perhaps something experimental fell from the sky that night. Something powerful enough to shatter bone without leaving a mark. A more psychological theory suggests infrasound, a low-frequency vibration caused by wind around the mountain. It's said to trigger intense fear, disorientation, and even panic. Imagine the wind roaring over the slopes, vibrating the air until the mind perceives danger where there is none. If the hikers experienced mass hysteria, they could have fled their tent in terror, unaware of what they were running from. By the time the reason returned, the cold would have already claimed them. And then there are the theories that defy explanation. Locals tell of spirits of the mountain. Others speak of something inhuman, lights in the sky, shapes in the snow. Even the indigenous Mansi avoided the slopes, calling them cursed. Whatever chased those 9 hikers into the darkness, whatever left their tent ripped open and their footprints scattered across the snow, remains a mystery that refuses to rest. The case was closed in 1959, then reopened decades later, with new evidence and advanced forensics, and yet the same haunting questions remained. 9 hikers went into the Ural Mountains. None returned. Their journals found in the snow ended with calm, ordinary entries. Nothing strange, nothing fearful. And then, silence. The Dyatlov Pass Incident isn't just a mystery. It's a reminder of how fragile we are against nature, and how thin the line is between order and chaos. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on our next descent into the past. We'll see you next time.